I'm Ethan Rosas. I'm a senior at Farragut High School.
My name is Joya Singletary and I go to Career Magnet Academy.
I'm Grace Taylor and I'm a sophomore at Career Magnet Academy.
My name is Camilla Koltoff. I go to Martin Valley Academy and I'm in 10th grade.
My name is Brett Wright. I'm a junior at Carter High School.
My name is Dayana Ballinger. I am a junior and I go to Carter High.
So I'm Emma Rosas. I'm in 10th grade and I go to Martin Valley High School.
My name is Stacia Coward. I am a junior and I go to Central High School.
My name is Amber Hinshaw and I go to Martin Valley and I'm a sophomore.
I'm Katie Valentino. I'm a person living in long-term recovery and my children are both involved in the Youth Metro Drug Coalition.
It's kind of surprising. I see in freshmen and sophomores, they're starting to do more than just like weed, or they're getting into harder drugs. And you hear about these kids and how you hear about their experiences, and you're kind of shocked at first because you're like, wow, I didn't expect that to happen. And like, I've heard many stories about people at my school, and it's not just those hard drugs, it's also smaller things, vape, alcohol, or tobacco. It's not like they're smaller, they're just more common, but people use that a lot.
I think it is really because of peer pressure. And like they see one person doing it, they're like, well, he's doing it and nothing's happening to him, so I'll just do it and have fun. I know there's also some kids that are like probably depressed and they don't have anybody to talk to about it, and so they just resort to drug and alcohol abuse.
It's not like as cheesy as people say like in the movies, like, oh, everyone's doing it, or it's almost subtle at first, but then you get multiple times of people urging you to do it or asking you or encouraging you, and it's like, it's almost as if they're nagging, sort of, in a way. It's not like this is a one-time thing and we're forcing you to do it, but it's recurring and it happens over time, and then eventually you'll succumb to it and you'll do it, but hopefully people don't, but it does happen.
I had a lot of friends that I was really close to in middle school and stuff, and then high school happened and they just started slipping, so I asked them what was wrong. And they wouldn't really tell me, so I asked why they were acting different. They just told me they were using alcohol or weed or drinking, smoking, just all of that. It made me feel kind of sad for them, just having to resort to that, not knowing what was wrong, how they found out that's what they wanted to do, and how they can't stop.
How does it not affect a family? Of course, immediately the first thing I think of is all the destructive forces around addiction. Parents unable to connect emotionally with their children, unable to provide for their needs, can lead to domestic abuse within the house, just basically the whole breakdown of the family system.
I'm actually adopted right now because my mom was on drugs and I lost my dad to drugs. He got killed over drugs.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how it breaks up family.
It really abuses a family, and people can go through these problems, and families sorry. My dad, he's in prison for selling drugs, so I just think if drugs weren't if we could prevent it, then we could save people and help people.
It can affect a family because the addict puts drugs or alcohol first more than their family does.
My parents divorced because of alcohol and drug abuse, and so I've had to grow up without a father figure in my home. And so I see him regularly, but he's not there he's not there all the time. I don't get to sit down at dinner and eat dinner with my mom and dad. I have to split myself between them. And so sometimes I feel guilty because I am not, spending enough time with my dad or spending enough time with my mom. And so it's put an extra stressor on my life on top of, school and just being a teenager and stuff.
It not only it kind of makes you pick a side, you know what I mean? My dad was an alcoholic, and my mom, she's addicted to pain pills, and she's out of the house right now, and DCS got involved and things like that. So it's kind of it's you want to kind of rebuild that relationship after it's been destroyed, but it's also you can't build trust. It's hard to build trust again after you feel like they're just going to keep betraying you and choosing substances over their family and things like that. So I live with my older brother now, me and my younger brother do, so it feels like we kind of have to, it's us versus our mom, you know what I mean? Because it's like she reaches out, but it's kind of like we're too afraid to reach back, or like we're afraid we're gonna get hurt again, so we kind of just like distance ourselves. Like she lives in North Carolina now, so we never really see her, so it's like all we really know of our mom is like she's a drug addict and like, she can't really take care of her own family anymore. So.
I mean, it's kind of hurt growing up without a normal family, you know. Well, I mean, as normal as it can be. You know, you see like all these students at school that have a mom and a dad, or like their mom and dad comes and picks the student up from school together. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, you know, and I felt like I never had that.
But, you know, I also want to make a point to say, though, that addiction can also bring other members of the family together because they have their own unique shared experience of living with an addict, you know, and what that's like for them. And so it's a different experience for each person. And I think that that's one thing in families that have addiction is there's different roles, you know, within those family structures. But all in all, it just, it's devastating.
So I'm pretty passionate because like I have a history in my family about it, and I know how bad it can be, how it can take over your life, and I don't want to see anyone go through that because that's just not what life is supposed to be. It's supposed to be free.
You give them a chance to talk about it, you know, with their peers and share what their experience is like, but you also give them power back, you know, over something they've either seen or something that they've lived with, and you give them an opportunity to take that particular life experience and do something positive with it.
I feel like YMDC gives me a voice, you know. I can talk out to my school and my peers and stuff and let them know what these drugs do to them. And it gives me hope that there are people out here that, you know, really want to help us and help kids and adults and everything. And I just feel like it's a great cause and it's a great thing that we could do for others.
I think it's really cool that younger people are all getting together to like make a cause and like change and make a difference for a cause like this.
As I said before, I don't want to see other people go through it, and it's cool to have other kids my age instead of nothing wrong with adults. Like I love adults, but it's really cool to have a connection with other kids like my age and see how their experiences are similar to mine, and it's just lots of fun to help other people get better in life or help prevent bad things from happening with people that are cool. Like they're nice and fun. It's a great place to be.
Well, it's awkward at first, you know what I mean, to like talk about it because you don't want to be that one kid, you know what I mean, whose parents are like drug addicts. But at the same time, once you get it off your chest, it's like everything's out in the open. You don't have to hide it anymore, and you can start building relationships and like sharing stories with other people and knowing that you're doing something to help it and doing something good for the community instead of just sitting back and ignoring it like I try to do. Because like ignoring it helps with the pain, but it also doesn't help you move forward, you know what I mean, fix it. So I feel like here, it's just out in the open. We can work together, you know what I mean, to make the community a better place.
And I love coming here because all of the students and we just feel like one big family. You know, like we all have a common ground that some kind of drug abuse has impacted our lives. And even if it isn't personal, it's still in our community. And us as, you know, like scholars that don't do drugs, it's hard to stand up for what's right when everybody else is doing something wrong. So I love being here because I feel surrounded by people that support me and I can support others.
I have been very open and honest with my children about the fact that they have a mother who's in recovery. And they don't just hear that as a word, they know what that means. They know that there was a time in their lives where I was not the person I was meant to be, that I fell into the grips of an addiction.
I would definitely say to be real with them. A lot of times I feel like we try to baby things and make it like not so as scary as things, or like, oh, like just don't do that. We never really get into the real factors as to why people do it, or as to why there is addiction and stuff. And so we need to just be frank with it and be upfront and say that this is a real problem that a lot of people struggle with, and ways that we can prevent that. And
don't go through it just that one talk, like we're having the talk about drugs. I would just keep on instilling that mindset inside of them that you want them to make the best decision, make them make the best decision and you don't want to force it upon them. You want them to realize that, oh, if I do that, I'm going to have bad consequences, whereas I could do this and be fine. So that's how it's worked for me. I've always been taught that this is not good, and I've come to my own decision that I don't want to do that stuff instead of me being forced, because then if you're forced, it sometimes backfires, but I'd say that's the way.
So we're all shaped by our life experiences. So I just think that, it's, if kids have been hurt by addiction or affected by it, give them a different way, to change the tide for it.
Students who are on drugs, like I said, I think the students who don't do drugs just need to stand up for what's right, and just and be there for those who are on drugs, and just show them that someone really cares. Someone cares about your health. You may not think it, but people around you really do care about you, and they don't want you to fall into unhealthy habits.
I'm just so grateful for the Metro Drug Coalition and the Youth Metro Drug Coalition. I think prevention is where it's at. If we can prevent addiction, then we can, change the whole trajectory of what's happening right now in our country. So I just appreciate your work and very grateful and honored to be a part of that.